Hey everyone, and welcome to the next edition of the Best of 3 Call of Duty Esports Podcast. I'm SalvationsElite Josh, as usual, your host. To my right, we got Bash_BO3 on Twitter, Sam, and in between us, as always, is Rex, ShadyNero. How you guys doing?
I am doing really good. really good.
Whoa!
I'm swimming in luxury.
Wow. Oh man, Sam?
I'm doing great. I'm doing good.
Nice. I'd like to hear. Well, guys, my goodness.
Crazy event.
We got a lot to talk about, man. It was Call of Duty CDL London, the first tournament of the Call of Duty League, the history of the Call of Duty League, hopefully for many years and years to come. And wowzers, a lot went down. We have a lot of matches, a lot of new information, some revelations with teams and players and situations. And we're going to go through it all today. So a lot that we got to go through, basically the format, our opinions on how the format went, and maybe things we'd like to see changed, or overall thoughts. And then, of course, we're going to deep dive into the teams and the players and everything else from the tournament. So, first of all, if you guys are listening on YouTube, we love you. We love you. But you can also go listen on Spotify and on Instagram, on Apple Podcasts. Cool. And, of course, if you guys are listening on Apple Podcasts, leave a review, rating. We really do appreciate that. And always love seeing the feedback, as always.
Yes, we do.
And, you can follow us on Twitter, at SalvationsElite, myself, at _BO3 on Twitter, and ShadyNero. And with that said, oh my goodness, we can get right into it.
Do it.
This was, like I said, the first event in the CDL's history. And, I mean, it was really interesting. Overall, at least my thought, first general impression was that it's interesting. It's not too hard to understand. And it's kind of fun. What are your guys' thoughts on that? As a viewer, first experiences of the tournaments, what are your guys' thoughts?
I thought it was great. Happy it went to a tournament format, right? This could have just been league play matches.
Yeah.
How it was set up, that would have been horrible.
Imagine this as a not tournament.
Yeah.
As normal league plays. That would have been rough.
That would have been really rough. I'm glad to see that we are still getting a taste of old Call of Duty, right? This is a different era. It's a different style still. It doesn't quite feel like a normal event, but we did get to see a tournament-esque double limb at the first and single limb. So I thought it was good. Again, I'm looking at this lens through an optimistic view. I know we're going to talk about kind of, what we thought could have been changed, but a macro overall view, I was happy with it. It was fun. It was cool. London was a amazing crowd. It was great.
So real though.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah. Rex, what are your thoughts?
It was more hype for sure. Just having a tournament format, it made it interesting to see Chicago making their full run through. Seeing them play Dallas twice was really fun.
That was cool.
I feel like the tournament format gave us a chance to look at these teams, and how good are they? What's their grit in a single elimination tournament? So I liked it a lot. I think it's better. I flipped my view. I think the tournament format it's the way to go with it. But it does have its issues, though.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think as a viewer, I was definitely worried for the broad general viewer whether or not they'd get a full grasp of what was happening, or how the tournament worked, or what it meant. And maybe in a big picture, not all viewers got the full sense of what it meant or how it works. But at least from what I was watching, it seemed like it made sense to the average viewer where it came to what these matches stood for and how the tournament was set up.
Yeah.
When it came to the pool plays and splitting it up in that sense, when it came to the exact actual format of how they made the tournament, pool play, double elim, single elimination, championship bracket. How'd you guys feel about that, and how do you guys think it played out?
I think it was. Sorry, go ahead.
No. Oh, yeah, no. I was just gonna say, I think it played out well. The only thing I was gonna mention was I could see how a casual viewer came in, maybe just clicked on the stream, right? They probably could have thought that these were just league matches, because you do just have, whatever the first one was. We had I'm blanking on the schedule, but you had your team was playing at 5 a.m. for us. Then it was 6:30. Then it was 8. They're these are just regular league matches, right?
Yeah.
But it was a tournament, so I could see how it could get confusing for a casual viewer, who didn't really know it was a bracket play. But that was the only thing I could think of a potential problem for the casual viewer.
Yeah,
if they
that
didn't put
makes
much emphasis on like the tournament bracket, but
Right. I mean, I see what you're saying, like the casual viewer thing. Because the point of these tournaments, it's all about the pro points, in my opinion. And that's like what's important. So like these tournaments aren't going to be MLG Anaheim. They're not going to be like that. You don't get a trophy at the end. You get a medal.
Which is a debate that we're going to have.
Exactly. And like in my these don't go down like in history books or whatever, because the thing that's going to go down in history books is going to be playoffs and like the champs at the end, where all the pro points accumulated get you there. And the tournament format is just like a nice way of gives you more games for one, see who's really good, and accumulating those pro points. So if you see it through the lens of getting pro points, I feel like you know what you're expecting, rather than like some crazy hype MLG Anaheim tournament.
The best thing about tournaments is that it allows for the best teams and the most interesting teams generally to play more games versus like a league play match where no matter what, Toronto's going to play as many matches as Chicago,
FaZe,
Dallas, FaZe, the teams that the teams that the fans want to watch. Usually that's the better sense is that tournaments give you an opportunity to see the best teams play, which is really fun.
Right. In the end, you get to see the two best teams play, so you're not watching Huntsmen versus like the Guerillas, and then Huntsmen versus
I agree.
Toronto. It's like no one cares. It's like we know who's going to win. But if we see Huntsmen go all the way to playing the other best team in the tournament, it's more interesting.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% with you. I think the first thing like that came to mind, we talked about this a little bit before, but was like, how do you feel about the assignment of pro points with the double elimination that then turns into a single elimination bracket? Because while watching the finals, it does feel a little weird that like, okay, Huntsmen have already beat Dallas. Dallas has lost one match. Chicago hasn't lost a match today, but they're on an equal playing field at this point. Anyone could take it, which from a viewer perspective is kind of fun. Like it's kind of cool for the team that lost the first one. They can come back and they're on a completely even playing field. There's no punishment for losing that one match.
In pool play, yeah.
In pool play, of course.
Or, group play or whatever.
But I mean, like, it is a little weird with the pro points because it's like, if Dallas wins that, they would have the same amount of losses, yet Dallas would have gotten 50 CDL points, and Chicago would have only got 30. But of course, this time, Chicago won, so Chicago got 50 CDL points, and Dallas got 30.
Yeah.
So,
but they both would have had only one loss.
Yeah, so does that make sense to you guys? Like, where are you feeling on that? Because, like, I don't know if the viewers cared that much about that, but, like, from a competitive aspect, it does feel kind of weird to me. I don't know. Where are you guys at? Rex, what are your thoughts?
I don't know if people really noticed that. But it is, like, an issue. Huntsmen went undefeated and got their 50 the max points that they should get. But imagine that Dallas lost one in pool play. Then they went all the way to the finals against Huntsmen. If they beat Huntsmen there, Huntsmen and Dallas have the same record, but Dallas is getting 20 more points than Huntsmen would have got.
So it is weird.
Yeah.
Like, are you guys okay with that? Like, what's your thoughts, Sam?
I guess the biggest thing for me would be is what I was kind of trying to get at, prior was I think what would need to change, if anything, is the start of the single elimination bracket. Like, so at the start, Chicago and Dallas were at the same point. Dallas had one loss. Chicago did have a loss. I think right then and there you give the bonus point to the undefeated team. Now, once the single elimination bracket starts, then it's whoever's game.
Oh, okay, right? I can see that.
Like, because I get like where you fought to be there.
Yeah.
And then whoever wins the single elimination bracket should by all means get the 50 points, right? They did it.
So in this scenario, would you mean that like the Huntsmen and London get the extra 10 points?
Potentially maybe get an extra 10 points.
Yeah. It could even be smaller. It could be 5.
Yeah, maybe 5. Like just something where it's like, okay, hey, you went undefeated in the pool play. Here's a recognition of something.
Because it is weird that like Dallas played an extra match. Like they played a fifth match where Huntsman only played 4, which is kind of weird. I mean, that could be beneficial in a sense. They lose to the Huntsman, gets an extra match of practice. They come in, have some warm up, they can come in. So I mean, in a world at some point this year, a team that came like from the losers bracket, quote unquote,
could
win. Will win. It'll happen at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my only concern. It may not be a big problem in the big picture. We might be shooting this thing out of proportion. It might not matter that much. But I would like to see at some point maybe this might be a change for next year.
Some sort of something.
Some type of award for like some type of acknowledgement that they didn't lose a match,
like an extra 10 points if you didn't lose a match or something.
Something, yeah.
Yeah.
And like even said, like it doesn't even have to be a full 10 points, maybe 5, which could eventually help you win a tiebreaker. Where like someone else might have 70 if you know.
Yeah, no, for sure. I agree. So that's kind of where I think we're both all on the same page with that.
I have a question though. Did Dallas and Huntsman, they played the same amount of series, right? Or did Dallas had one more series?
Dallas played 5. Chicago played 4. Which, I mean, to be fair, like in old tournaments, like in CWL Anaheim, that worked. If you were in the losers bracket, you were playing more matches. Which
the only difference is if you were to beat the undefeated team,
you had
the
to play.
Team gets another chance.
So you have to reset the bracket.
Yeah, but here there is no option for that. But yeah, I mean, like I can see it. Like again, it's like. I think it could just be a talking point of something. Like it doesn't need to be completely changed, but maybe just something like a little extra bonus points.
I agree. Yeah. So, I don't know. I guess we briefly mentioned this. What are your thoughts about there not being any ceremony or trophy or award or like acknowledgement that much of even like Chicago as champions or like winners? Mm-hmm. It definitely plays into the argument of do these count as championships? Like, how important is CDL London versus like the Frag Cup 4 and Ghosts or AW or Black Ops 2?
Frag Cup, all things.
Yeah. Like what? There was like eight or 10 teams.
Yeah, like or any of those invitationals of the past. Like those were very comparable tournaments to these. That's the question. I mean, we never have had this full conversation on the podcast. In my opinion, there needs to be like a reorganization of all of the tournaments. Like. Where it was a full open bracket, those should be majors. Mm-hmm. And then there should be, like, minors. Like, in golf, there's major tournaments, and then there's just tournaments, you know? And, like, you win the Masters, that's a major. Which I would like to see something like that reorganized. But what are your guys' thoughts on trophies? Like, do you think there should be some type of a ceremony or award or acknowledgement or something like that? Rex, what are your thoughts?
Personally, I don't think there should be. I'm very much a proponent of... This is about accumulating your pro points. Each tournament is about getting your pro points. And I think that elevates the hype for when you get to, like, the grand COD Champs. Like, it elevates. Like, now it's like everyone's been working to get to this one place. And I think the new COD Champs, I think, should be and could be bigger than all the other COD Champs we've ever had.
Right.
Just because it's the one thing that you have to go for.
It's the one
There's no MLG
pinnacle.
Anaheim that you can win and say, like, I won MLG Anaheim, last chance. It's like, no, you didn't win anything. Only thing you have to win is champs. That is it. So I like it that way. I like the mass hype for champs and lessening the tournaments.
Yeah. Sam, what are your thoughts?
I would say I definitely see where you're coming from, but like thinking about it as a spectator, perspective, I think it'd be cool. This one felt rushed, right? It felt weird. You had Scump's interview, and then
the girl was like, "Goodbye, see you later,"
and then we're done. I think it would be cool.
They cut it weird for sure, but
and that might be like a production thing. Like maybe they can change that, but I feel like we need to kind of harken back, like more towards like again. I get it. This is different. It's not the same old events as last year, but like it just feels wrong if you don't do something for the team that doesn't at least make it out.
I agree.
It just feels not Call of Duty, but like I get it where like we are focusing more on the champs, right? I get it,
playoffs,
but it would be cool just something like
in my ideal world, I've talked about this before, is like where we have 12 major tournaments throughout the year, and that's it, and then like there's the champs at the end or something. Very similar to like what COD's did in the past, but more officially like elongated and kept track of with pro points or something. But anyway, I when it comes to these specifically, I would love to see some type of award ceremony.
I really don't want like a trophy or a medal, anything like that.
Definitely not medals. Create the
but
passion
these players should be
and
really
energy.
focused on these pro points. Like
Yeah,
that should
I
be
mean,
like you are.
That was
hungry for
something.
them.
Sorry interrupting you, but yeah, that was something I was actually really happy about. It seemed like the players were really bought into like this meaning something, which if these were league matches, we know they wouldn't have been. So that is cool that it like you wouldn't see Clayster in some league match standing up there and shushing the crowd, because that's just not how it would have gone.
Yeah.
He eliminated London in London in a tournament, which is pretty cool. Which is why like you would never get that moment if it wasn't a tournament.
Yeah.
So
just any old league.
That's
match.
what makes tournaments really cool for me. Another topic is like we have to wait now, 12 days for the next tournament till Atlanta, and then there is a stretch in this year where we have tournaments every single weekend. So I mean, how do you guys think it's gonna feel having weekends like back to back? Like literally, there's a Chicago, Florida, Seattle, Minnesota stretch where it's back to back to back to back to back tournaments. So how are your guys' thoughts on like, will it feel oversaturated, or like what are your guys' thoughts on that as a whole? Sam, what are yours?
Yeah, my biggest concern was basically when this got announced and like the however many homestands we have is, and Hex even mentioned it quite a bit on his podcast, is like is it turning into like a CS:GO where there is a major tournament, minor
casuals
tournament.
just feels flooded.
It's just there's like CS:GO, there's so many events where it's like it just turns into like if you miss an event, it's like like I don't want COD to be a thing where it's like I can miss this event because I want each one to be special, but I do get it. It's hard for me because like I do like it, being more formal, being a franchise, playing a lot more Call of Duty. That's awesome. Right. More Call of Duty is great, and it might be fine. Like just having that stretch and that's it, and then we'll go back to every other weekend. But that's my only concern. Is just I just don't want it to get oversaturated.
Rex, what are your thoughts?
I agree with Sam to an extent, but also I guess from like a bigger perspective is like viewer wise, like if you just keep pushing it out, like if you make a video every single day, it'll grow. So if we're doing one every single weekend, it might grow.
It exposes it to more people.
But I see what he's saying where it kind of loses that specialness. And I feel like I agree with that personally. I do like that specialness, but I also like being able to know what I have Call of Duty to watch every weekend.
Yeah, it's for sure going to be on this date, like a very formal schedule.
Yeah, it's like every every weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or I always know what's happening.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But now we got to wait a weekend, and it's like
that is true.
Am I gonna? It's like, is other people are they gonna lose interest because now it's not gonna be there next week, and so like, oh, and they just forget about it, and then they don't watch the next one, and then they don't.
It'll be really cool to see the viewership stats once this whole season's been played out. Like where did it dip? Why did it dip? Was it because there was an off weekend?
Yeah, right? That'll be really interesting. See, like, is it basically based off what teams are there, or is it based off what teams play well, or is it based on how often the events happened,
right?
Or what time of the year? Like, does the middle of the year just get very few views because it's like it's just July or like because it's May or whatever? Yeah, that'll be really interesting. I agree with that.
I feel like it can go back to how you should be viewing these tournaments, whether they're like just for the pro points, like they're just going to work, get their pro points, or if it's like they should get a medal or a trophy. If it's like a medal or a trophy, that has that specialness to it.
See,
but if you're viewing it in the lens of like this is for just to get those pro points, then it's like, well, they should be every weekend because they're not supposed to be super hype. They're supposed to build to something that's super hype,
But I want it to be super hype every weekend, and then lead into something that's super hype.
Like,
no, I
because when you watch it, it's like, well, that wasn't that special. They didn't get a trophy, they didn't get anything. They just got these pro points, and we have to wait another 2 weeks to watch another one of these.
I see what you're saying. Like, either make it a strict. This is
it's conflicting.
But how can you call it an important tournament if the teams aren't? If Atlanta wasn't even there, how can you call it an important tournament?
That is true. Yeah, like you either need to make each one a special tournament, or it needs to be every single weekend. This is where you're playing for pro points.
Again, in my ideal world, there's 12 tournaments, like almost, like consistently, like every other week or something like that. So we know twice a month we're having a 12-team full tournament. That would be sick, and I would be so about that. Like that would be like the ideal situation for me.
Right.
But yeah, I agree. It is conflicting messages. One side says these aren't important. They're just pro points.
Not that they're not important, but yeah.
You know,
it's not
they're
like
less
a special
important.
event.
It's not a tournament.
It's a
not
building
like,
block to something crazy important.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. But then the other message where it's not every single week is like, well, we still want to keep them special by not having them every week. You know, But I agree. It is weird inconsistency.
They're caught in between.
Yeah, the viewership for this one was pretty good, though. I mean, it peaked at like 111,000, which was an improvement from last week, which is good to see.
But it was also like the first like real tournament of it.
Yeah, and the VOD has 1.27 or 1.22 million views.
That's awesome.
So 1.22 times someone clicked on the stream, which is cool.
That's really cool.
And some of the viewership is really good. And that was day 1 and day 2 have almost very consistent streaming numbers. So that's pretty impressive overall for the VODs.
Yeah.
So that's good to see. It'll be interesting to see how that viewership does continue over the year, though. So I'm really excited to see how that plays out.
I think Champs will be really good. I think it's going to be really good.
It should be.
It should be really good.
Theoretically, it should
That's
be
what they're
amazing.
all
I hope
playing
they announce
for.
the
That's
location
all the
soon.
points are for is to Champs. It's the only one tournament, real tournament, and that's Champs. That's it.
Yeah,
that's what makes it so good. Yeah,
I agree. I just think I am a little bit worried that after like 4 or 5 tournaments, it might start feeling a little dull. And I hope that's not the case.
That's why you almost that's why you almost want it every weekend.
But I could see a world where like, you know, like if Huntsman and Atlanta aren't there, like
I'm okay to miss this one.
I'm okay to at least miss some of it. Like so I think how a lot of people are going to feel about that. And so that's what I'm a little bit worried about when it comes to that type of situation where Atlanta and Chicago aren't there. So we'll see how it plays out, but that is my original concern. So with that said, I think we can transition into our big talk of the week, which is the breakdown of the teams and the games themselves and how it plays out. So off the rip, what are your biggest surprises? What are your biggest takeaway? What are your general thoughts about team play and how it went down in London? Rex, take us away.
Honestly, with biggest surprises, I'm not sure if I was too surprised by anything. I wasn't like, nothing was like, whoa, I can't believe that happened. Other than maybe like Subliners, I think improved a lot.
Yeah.
Paris also showed us that, yeah, they still are probably a middle of the pack team. Like they're not the worst team. They kind of almost more solidified that.
That's interesting. There's a debate there that they could be better.
Like, yeah, I mean, no, Paris could definitely be a top 6 team, top 5. I wouldn't put them top 3 at all, but like top 6, like I could. There's a world where that exists.
My prediction was Paris was going to beat New York first match.
Yeah.
I had them flip flop.
Oh, I guess we can talk about that real quick.
Yeah.
I'll interrupt you for a second.
No, yeah.
But the results, so we did do a pick'em last week on the podcast where we predicted every single potential matchup and kind of went through them. And based off all the potential predictions, Rex was 11 for 13. Sam was unfortunately 9 for 13, and I was 11 for 13 as well. But the ironic thing is that I had New York beating Paris twice. Rex had Paris beating New York twice. But Sam actually had them splitting, but he got them both wrong. He had Paris beating New York the first time and New York beating Paris the second time.
Yeah.
Which kind of makes sense.
So ironically, he was actually kind of more accurate than us while being less accurate. So pretty impressive.
Yeah, I was like, again, I thought Paris was going to come off again, like, you know, hot again, beating New York. But when New York won, I was like, okay, maybe they are back to where they should be. But then they lost again, and then they just didn't look, you know, they looked better, but just not where I thought. Again, I don't think anyone could argue that they did not look like where they should be yet. Like these names on these teams should be top 5, right?
Well, it's hard to say who the worst team is.
I know, yeah. It's just weird.
I don't think it is. I think Toronto's the worst team. It's not even close.
You don't think it's even close?
No.
Here's the thing, like, you could use Paris as a punching bag before, because, like, no one knows who they are, but, like, Toronto has Looney, they have Bance, they have Methods, like, these are not players that are like worst team. They're middle of the pack team, on paper.
Metals was showing his stuff too. Yeah, it's weird, but technically you can't even say Chicago is the top team either.
Well, there's that argument.
Yeah, so
because
it's just weird because there's only 8.
Sure, you can't.
There's only 8 teams here. But,
Right. There's 4 teams we haven't actually seen in a tournament yet.
But you can say they are.
You
top,
can guess.
Yeah, you can pretty much assume they're
Come on
top
now.
3.
Yeah. For
Yeah,
sure. So, that's the
definitely
question.
top 3.
Biggest takeaway?
Yeah. Kind of wrapping up. New York looked better, not where they should be, and then Seattle. I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought Seattle looked. I thought they looked a little bit better.
They did.
Not like significantly.
Again,
like
New
New York's was
they're
much
close,
bigger change,
right?
Yeah.
but
I think we can talk about them. Well, I think we can dive into them in a second.
Yeah.
I'll just talk about my takeaway.
Yes.
My biggest surprise was also in the New York Paris situation.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest surprise for me was Paris sweeping the floor with New York the second time around, because New York looked dominant in that first series.
and then
Early in the morning on the first day, and then out of nowhere comes Paris just to smack them with a GOAT one and knock them out of the tournament, which was really surprising. If you guys were watching, I was live streaming it, and I was like, no chance Paris wins this. Yo, $10 giveaway if Paris wins.
Easy $10.
So I was full tilting, but. Yeah, I was really feeling New York. I thought they had finally made their turnaround. They had made it happen. I know they lost to London, but it was a close series in there, and I thought
which
for
is
sure
crazy.
New York was going to beat Paris there. So that was my biggest surprise of the weekend, no doubt about it. We're gonna go through just some of the teams right now. I think there's no other way to go about it besides knock one team at a time and go through some of the most important, biggest storylines. So let's start off with Paris. The question is, how good is Paris?
How do you even?
Right now, where in your guys' minds is Paris sitting? I hate the power rankings talk, but it kind of is the best way to sort things out. So in your minds right now, where would you rank Paris in a power ranking? Rex, what are your thoughts?
Middle of the pack to bottom middle of the pack. I'm not even confident in that. They're almost dead center for me. It's hard for me to say they're top middle pack, Yeah,
because I was thinking top middle pack, but then again, there isn't it's just hard again because.
But then they lost to New York, and then they beat New York. And
they beat New York, and then they lost to them. It's
I know.
What is happening?
That's what makes it really tough.
Yeah, because right now Chicago is the only one that's beaten a team 3 times.
But Paris has beat. They beat OpTic 3-2.
Yeah.
Then they beat London 3-0.
3-0. So is OpTic better than London?
Is OpTic better than London?
No.
If
OpTic
took 2 maps off Paris, but then London didn't take 2.
Yeah, I know.
What I'm saying? Those are that's the logic you can use.
Now, again, I think there's a legitimate logic based argument where you could say, well, Paris, they made up for their mistake against New York. They beat them. They beat London. They beat OpTic. I mean, they beat Toronto 3-1. So it's maybe
you can't deny Paris's ability to adapt.
And then they took 2 hard points. I lied. That was the biggest surprise.
That is true. Chicago.
They took 2 hard points off Chicago,
which is crazy.
Which Chicago had lost a hard point.
Chicago was the best.
Who is Paris? What is going on with them?
I know.
So the one thing that
they compete with everybody, but it's
they do have the 2 AR meta, which is interesting because a lot of teams don't do that, and it definitely threw Chicago for a loop in those hard points. I was talking about it in my video today. They played Hackney and Gunrunner. I can't remember exactly. But yeah, the 2 AR meta worked.
That was weird.
So I don't know. There's a world where Paris could be a top 4 team.
It's weird because
maybe.
Do you count them as good or not? Do you count their inconsistency as bad? They can be a good team, but can they get to that point consistently?
Yeah.
They're just I think you have to label them as a wild card.
We don't know exactly.
We just don't know
yet.
Yeah, you just don't know.
It feels like they could be top 4, but would I
But
be
at the same
surprised
time,
if they lost to Seattle if they
Yeah.
played them again? Or if they played them, or would I be surprised if the Guerillas beat them?
Yeah, they almost lost to OpTic.
If OpTic came back and beat them in another match, would I be surprised? No.
No.
But I was really surprised that they took two hard points off the
Yeah,
Huntsmen.
I almost forgot about that. Yeah, that was actually a weird game.
That was crazy surprising. Yeah, so that is really an interesting conversation. I guess another really interesting conversation is where do you have Dallas in that list?
Mhm.
Because Dallas right now, I mean, they played the toughest schedule in the COD League by far. It's not even close. I mean, they played the Huntsmen 3 times. They played FaZe once. Like, they can't catch a break with their scheduling right now in the first 2 weeks.
Because
So
you can't say that they're a bad team because they've lost to debatably the best 2 teams.
Yeah.
So do you say they're third? I mean, like, what? Like, where do you put them as?
I know
they're getting pooped on right now by the community because of they're online, but they're still good. Like they're a good team.
Currently, they're 11-15 in map count. So they're 11 wins, 15 losses in map count. They're 3-4 in match count. So they've won 3, lost 4 matches.
Mm-hmm.
It's decent. I mean, they've beat some solid teams. Like they played well against Seattle and London.
Mm-hmm.
But then, how good Seattle's the real question. And so it makes it incredibly difficult to figure out where Dallas is at this point. The win against London is really interesting.
That was a big win, I think.
Where London, I really thought London was going to take that. I thought, based off how these teams have been playing, London kind of made sense to win that. But, yeah, Dallas came out and beat London in London.
And
made that statement that they are a top 5 team for sure.
Dallas has to be a top 5 team.
Yeah,
I cannot say that they're not a top 5 team because you can't because they've only lost to Chicago and FaZe.
The 2 best teams.
Yeah,
but they lost to them by easily.
So okay, if we're doing power rankings, would they still be your 3rd team?
I think I would still power rank them 3rd.
I don't know who I put else in 3rd.
Exactly.
Who else do you put there?
Not Rokkr.
They almost lost to Guerillas.
Yeah. I honestly, I could see Ravens going there, but then Dallas beat them, so it's like
Dallas beat them. Yeah. That's the thing.
So I think Ravens might be 4th for me right now, but I think Dallas
you want
has
to know
be
now, but
I think I put Paris at 4, right?
Where do you have the Ravens?
Do you think
5.
London? Do you think Paris is better than London?
That's
for
tough.
Sure?
That's a really tough. I mean, it's impossible to know.
Yeah.
I mean, well, we do know. I guess they beat London 3-0.
Yeah.
In Minnesota.
Paris beat. Yeah. Sorry,
Yeah.
I thought you were saying. Yeah. Yes.
And so that's weird. That makes it incredibly difficult to decide where Paris and London are at right now.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like in a 1-to-1 matchup, I would like London in the matchup, but on paper, I don't think there's an argument to have Paris behind London at this point. I think you have to have Paris ahead of London.
It's so weird.
It's just weird because it doesn't feel right.
I feel like if they came up in a matchup, I would lean London again.
Yeah, no.
But they got 3-0'd by them last 2 weeks ago. So who knows? I don't know.
I know.
It makes me love Call of Duty because anything's possible, especially when you got 12 teams of pros that are really good players. In a tough spot with Paris, I think I would have them at 4 in the power rankings. What's your official? Where would you have them if you had to put them right now? Probably.
If I have to, Paris 4, London 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rex, same or?
Dude. I just said they were a bottom middle team.
Yeah.
And
so
now
you
I'm
say
regretting
maybe
that
5?
decision. I don't think it's so 4 or 5.
Okay. All right.
I guess.
You want to put 6 different teams at 5.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing.
You want to put.
So, I guess we never finished our conversation on Dallas, though. Right now, it's interesting because Dallas with Shotzzy. I mean, we're going to talk about these guys. He was your guys' picks as the comeback player of the week,
which I think he
sort of
improved.
Yeah,
he improved a lot.
He improved.
He had his bad maps
because he was
but he
so
did
bad
on other maps.
He definitely had his bad maps, but he actually looked good in some others, which is interesting because we didn't see the good from him last week or in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And so it was nice to see him succeed in some of these maps and not just crap the bed all weekend. So I do agree. In moments, he looked improved. In my mind, there's a lot of potential there for Dallas, which is why I still would have him at 3. They're not going to be in Atlanta, so they have 2 weeks now or 3 weeks to kind of just prepare,
about it,
get
prepare.
ready, get going, and get back in flow of things. So I'm still very confident in Dallas moving forward. I think season long, they're going to be in good shape.
I agree.
I'm feeling good.
Absolutely.
So the next conversation is a tough one with Seattle. Karma, his interview, his tipsy interview.
Drunk. He was
Rumored
he was-
tipsy. I don't think that's ever was proven, but
he was
more
was
than likely
done that
probably
weekend.
tipsy, probably a
Oh
little
my
drunk.
word.
I mean, he was pretty happy. He was in a good mood.
He was in a good mood. He didn't seem mad.
The
though.
crowd had him in a good mood, regardless.
Hmm.
They're chanting Damon Barlow while he was interviewing, but he had a very honest interview about Seattle's spot
extremely honest.
and where Seattle is right now.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw Seattle struggle and look good at times, and they're so close over and over and over.
Yeah,
Both ways.
so close,
they're close
yet
to winning.
so
They're
far.
close to losing. They're so close yet so far. Currently, they're 8-14 in map counts, so 8 wins, 14 losses. They played some tough teams. They played Dallas twice, and didn't go well for them.
Who were they up 5-2 on S&D against?
Dallas.
Yeah,
They're up 5-2 on Gunrunner S&D.
That's just heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, does that just mean that they're a good team, but they just can't clutch in the close situations?
Yeah, I mean, Karma talked about how they're good at Dom. They're 4-1 in Dom is what I think what he said. I haven't confirmed that myself.
He said what, like 50-50 in hardpoint, and he said that.
Yeah, and they just suck.
He
They've only won one search.
And they say they're really bad at search, yeah.
Yeah, and so, but I mean, historically, Enable has been bad at search.
Yeah.
And that's kind of been a problem with teams that he's been on. So, like, is that infiltrating the Seattle team? Is it Enable's fault? Where's Slack in the argument? One thing I know for sure, Octane is really freaking good.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Every time,
so good.
no matter what team they're playing, Octane is putting up numbers. And like you look at the leaderboard, it's like 22-20, 21-34. Octane, 40-26. You know, like this dude just puts up numbers, and he has like 2 minutes in the hill or something every single game.
Makes you wonder, like, how he got on that team, and like why that team. But I mean,
Well, that team, like, looking at it, you're like, this isn't a bad team.
Yeah,
But now they're bad.
You think they're
so it's
good, but wow, they just But so like, here's the thing: if they get their stuff together,
oh, the upside's there.
they're a good team.
I
They're
think
a really good
Octane
team.
single-handedly kept him in some matches.
Mhm.
I mean, the dude just anchors like crazy. The dude get to do a hill,
Mhm.
and he just sits there forever.
He's a
Like,
sentry gun.
He's a
Yeah.
sentry gun. So it's like when he knows where the team's coming from, he'll beam you down.
Yeah.
And so
You can't imagine the vibes are good on that team, though.
no,
No.
no.
The fact that
no.
Karma goes on there
No
and
chance.
it's kind of like, in a way, badmouths his own team
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Is
on
like,
air.
He showed zero confidence.
yeah, but like
It
that.
was- I mean,
You
it was
know
honest.
that's
I
what everyone
respect
is
it,
thinking.
but also kind
That's
of
what-
threw
that's
everybody
what-
else under the bus. He threw his whole org under the bus.
Well, Lottie literally asked him like, "So, are you guys gonna get back to like I don't remember exactly what he said like, are you guys gonna
Yeah,
get back to like
yeah.
God tier form or something like that?"
Yeah.
And he's like,
that is not what you want to. That is not what
He
you want to
hesitated.
hear.
"That was
It's
so
like-
funny, bro. That was so funny.
So,
I was
like-
dying."
I honestly feel like Karma's just like almost chalked up this team already.
He may have, honestly.
I think Karma wants
I
to
don't know, but I
retire.
feel like if
I'm being
he had
completely
something-
honest, I think Karma wants to retire.
Whoa, that's a bold
That-
claim.
That's a hot take.
I don't know about that.
That's a hot take.
In my mind, though, it's like if he was wanting to like make a roster move or like drop somebody, or if he was really personally pissed at someone, I feel like he wouldn't have.
He wouldn't have said.
He wouldn't have said
anything.
anything.
He just been mad.
But
But like he
it-
seemed like
In my opinion, yeah,
He was
I
too
feel like
happy. He almost didn't care that he lost. You know what I mean?
he
Like,
did
that's
have-
almost
he
worse.
did have some drinks in him, and he was trying to like put on a show for the fans.
I think it was a mixture of he's in a good mood. He wasn't mad. I think to me it seems like they know where they're at. They know, okay,
This is their reality.
this is the reality of it.
They're realistic, okay. But to
Yeah,
say it on
but-
air like
Yeah,
that.
no, but
Yeah.
I do agree. I feel like if I was his teammate, I would have been mad.
He
like,
basically said they're not going to get better almost.
yeah, like to me
That was what was weird. He
To
seemed
me,
to have
that's-
zero confidence.
That's
in
what
trying
I'm
to get
saying.
better.
Like, he doesn't
It is
care
so weird.
anymore.
Yeah.
He does not
but
care.
like but like maybe again that was just the atmosphere. Like was he completely inebriated.
He hesitated, Sam, on the last question. Inebriated or
No,
not,
no.
that's not
I know.
a difficult one to like. That's honest thoughts coming out there. Like,
Yeah, no, I do agree. There was definitely something weird. Like, he might be just done, or like he knows, A, he wants to retire, or B, maybe he just knows this year is not going to be their year.
and then he's gonna
specific
retire,
roster.
or he's
roster.
just be like, I'm getting a completely different team or something like that.
Yeah.
Or he's very happy because he knows they've already dropped slack. He's
Yeah,
like, I'm doing great.
yeah. Maybe they made roster moves already.
And that's why he's so happy.
That's why he's so happy. Yeah.
We're down half our team. I'm gonna go drink.
yeah. I mean, if there was going to be a team that's going to make a roster change, it's going to be Seattle.
It's probably Seattle.
I mean, obviously not counting Toronto because they're just going to keep flipping and flopping their roster all over the place like they're pancakes.
They have 10 players to go through.
Yeah, that's a different thing. So Seattle's a really tough discussion. I'm really excited to see where they go. I mean, I like the guys on their team a lot. I like their roster. I just want to see them play well.
Play well.
The league is better when Seattle's good. So that's kind of where I'm at. The next team is New York, and man, like I said, after that first win against Paris and going into the weekend, like, even though they lost to London, they played London close. I was feeling really good about New York. I thought for sure they were going to beat Paris, and then they lose 3-0 in a series that wasn't that close to Paris. What are your guys' thoughts on this New York roster? They're really inconsistent.
I think New York has the potential to become pretty good, like middle of the pack, even maybe upper middle pack. They just have a lot of improvement to do. But I think the players on the team, I think they can do it. But right now, I don't think they're that great.
When do you start putting weight on coaches of like performance?
Funny that you say that. I was gonna say something about Joey Nubsy for the Seattle coach.
Yeah.
I was gonna say if they're making a roster change, maybe they replace him.
Well, yeah,
Whoa.
Here's a hot take.
I mean, honestly, he's kind of like a jokester. Like he's kind of a joke. He's a meme.
He's the nicest dude around.
No, don't get me wrong. He's nice, but like he's not Crowder. Like you respect Crowder. Do you respect Joey Nubsy? That might be a little harsh. Not to say I don't respect him. You don't take him as seriously as you would someone like Crowder.
I mean, I can see what you're saying.
And
he's not an authoritative voice, I should say. You know
but
what I
they
mean?
have an authoritative voice. It's Karma.
Yeah, but Karma's a wild card. Like, you know he gets mad. You know he gets tilted pretty easily.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
So, like, he's not someone you want to be your authoritative figure. You need someone who's consistent and sturdy.
I get what you're saying.
Like Crowder.
I don't know if coaching changes are the first.
Yeah,
I don't think coaching changes are gonna be like I don't think it's gonna magically make Seattle better, but
yeah, it's not like the NFL or college football or something.
That's just something that crossed my mind.
Yeah, I don't want to like get us off track, so I'll bring us back. But I think later down the road we should talk about
the power of coaches.
And like, when do you start questioning them?
For sure.
Anyways, but
good convo.
Yes,
Paris or New York. Yes,
New York. Yeah, there's no denying these guys are individually talented players, right? Like you attach Inzuma and Temp especially. Accuracy is like I don't know why he's performing so bad.
Yeah,
but like he's a good player, and yeah, so they have a tremendous upside. I just don't know if it's just not clicking with them, the game, the way it's being played, you know, like what it is. But these guys should be doing way better than they're doing. I don't know what is really like what's happening.
Well, that was weird because like I talked about this in my video as well, but like in the first map they played Ramaza's Search, and the Subliners 6-1'd the Legion on Ramaza's Search. Then they played again on Sunday. Paris 6-0'd the Subliners on Ramaza's Search. A day later. So it's like, I don't know if they just adjusted to their tendencies and their strategies, and that shows some adaptive nature for Paris. Like, they play a team again, and they smoke them. Like, it's really interesting. I don't know.
Because Paris can adapt, and New York didn't know how to. Like, they didn't do it as well. Yeah, and that's definitely possible. Just adapt. This is modern warfare.
Call of Duty.
Just adapt, bro. But... yeah, it's just a tough case. Accuracy had a much better event. This Accuracy played pretty well, actually, this event.
Better in Zero, yeah.
Unlike Minnesota. But, That's where I do question things. It's like I'm not exactly sure where this roster stands right now. It was really disheartening to see them lose to Paris like that after I really felt like they had a shot to make something happen. In power rankings, I have them like middle of the pack, like smack dab in the middle right now, like maybe 6,
maybe 7.
Yeah, something like that. 6 or 7 probably. Yeah. It's hard to say. They have upside for sure, and if they're playing well, they can probably compete with any team. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not convinced at this point that they're going to be able to compete consistently. And so I definitely have some worries about New York. Long term, I agree with you, Rex, that they have upside. But in then the near future, I don't see them winning any LAN tourneys anytime soon. Are you guys on the same page with that?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, yeah.
Makes sense. So the next team is the LA Guerillas. This is also a weird one. They're feel weird. Like a bottom tier team. At least to me.
They're strange, yeah.
But like, you know, they competed with Seattle. They got reverse swept by Seattle Sunday morning.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, they were 3-0'd by OpTic. I'm sorry, 3-0'd by the Huntsmen, former OpTic, on Saturday. What are your guys' thoughts on the Guerillas? They didn't come out with a W. They were one of the the 2 teams that come out winless from this event. Them in Toronto, which we'll talk about next. Is there upside at all for them?
I don't think there's.
Are you just kind of giving up on it? Rex, what are your thoughts?
I don't think there's going to be much more growth from them. I think they're only doing as good as they are now because nobody else has like learned the game or like I guess adapted. But once those teams start catching up, they're going to start smoking Guerillas more and then more and more and more, and Guerillas are not going to get that much better as time goes on, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So Guerillas are only competing now because everybody else is kind of in that bad area. But once those other teams get better, like I think they will, Guerillas will be the one team that just doesn't get better.
Yeah, because like, do you see like Saints and Aqua like being amazing?
Probably not.
Probably not, right? Like, and like I know Lacefield too is like he's a good player. But like, do you see him like on the same like upside as like
a Tige, like for OpTic? Yeah. Like if he turns things around, then suddenly OpTic's good.
Which and like I don't mean this to come off as like, man, Saints and all of them suck. But it's like
garbage.
Is there much more like, to me, not one player on that team can turn a map around, right? Like, single-handedly.
They can't do Octane.
They're like there's no Octane. There's no like you know.
Simp. There's no God.
There's no hard carries on that team.
No.
It's weird.
I mean, they were so close in the Seattle Surge match. They got reverse swept by them. They were up 2-0, 250-210 on the hard point. They won. 6-5 on Arclov. They won. Mm-hmm. Then they lost 193-175 Dom on Gunrunner. Then they lost 250-231 on Ozir. And then lost 6-5 on Petro.
Just close games. Yeah.
Like, they can't be that far behind from Seattle at this point then.
But that's the difference. I think Seattle can improve.
Yeah,
whereas I don't think Guerillas can improve, are going to improve that much.
Yeah. Right, because I mean, in all of our power rankings, we'd have Seattle bottom 4, right?
Probably
right now, yeah.
But
right
like,
now,
we can see them being like a top 5 team.
I mean, probably bottom 4 would be like OpTic, Seattle, Guerillas, and then Toronto. Or depending on how you see OpTic. You know,
OpTic,
so
Toronto.
I guess I would say we can roll into the Toronto talk. I mean, where are you guys at with the Guerillas versus Toronto argument, and how does that feel right now? Is Toronto your guys' worst team? The Guerillas, OpTic, Seattle, you know, who else is in that argument? But like, who's your bottom team right now? Is it Toronto?
I think mine's gonna be right now. Yeah, I think Toronto. I think Toronto's worse.
Sam?
I don't want to say Toronto's worse, but they might be. It's just weird for me to say Looney is on the
worst team.
Because he's such a good player.
He hasn't been on the worst team in a long time.
No.
Put medals back in.
Like, the thing that's so disappointing is, like, Toronto might be chalked for the whole year, because are they going to keep rotating in players out of their 10 roster? Like, they need to set a 5. And
at the same time, though, if you're experimenting at some point, maybe you'll find
find a combo, yeah.
The combo that works.
I guess you are like putting like I guess you are investing in a long-term investment here. Like
that's the question.
Like you're saying, like, okay, we're gonna suck right now, but we're gonna find the best 5 combo,
The magic beans.
the magic beans, right? So maybe you see them as like a tremendous upside. Then, like, wow, they're gonna be crazy. But
It does feel like they have more upside than the Guerillas.
but right now, compared to the Guerillas, I feel like they're worse.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
I think so. It is a tough argument, but I would say Toronto's probably the worst. I would have Guerillas probably next worst. And then OpTic at 3rd worst and Seattle at 4th worst.
Yeah.
Probably. And then there's the middling tier teams of like the Subliners, the Mutineers, Paris, London, Rokkr. And then there's Dallas,
FaZe,
Huntsmen, and FaZe.
Yeah.
So there are some tiers right now, but it feels like Huntsmen and FaZe are in their own tier.
No, Huntsmen and FaZe are definitely in their own tier.
In a tier way above every above every other team.
There's a huge gap. So.
Unless you're a Paris fan, because then you're only
yeah,
one,
unless
you know,
you're
one-
Paris is
yeah.
the
one
one
map
team
away.
that's like maybe they'll beat Huntsmen.
Yeah. Who knows?
like what? Yeah. So that is a really, really interesting argument. I mean, how do you feel about the teams? Has your opinion changed on any of the teams that aren't there, that weren't at this event? So if the Rokkr, Atlanta, Florida, and OpTic, did they change based off of what you saw, the teams that they played against this weekend? So if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, like a team like Florida, they lost to the Guerillas 3-2, and they beat Seattle 3-2. So it's like,
Where do you put them?
it
Again.
doesn't feel like
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like they're going to be a top tier team, right? At
It's
this
just
point.
I just feel like it's impossible to say. Right?
It is
like,
hard
like,
to say.
Like, how do you form an opinion on them not being there? Like,
It's only because we learned more about the teams that they played
teams that
against
they
the
played
week
against.
before.
Yeah. It just it's so weird too. Like, cause like, yeah. I mean, I personally, just to answer the question, I'm
You're not taking too much away
I'm
from
not
it.
taking I'm not taking anything away from it, just because the way it's been, where teams that beat other teams then lost the team
And
that
lost
they
the teams
beat.
that, yeah, this is the circular.
It's a weird circular thing right now. So,
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
I mean, the Rokkr, they beat the Guerillas 3-1.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then they
Kinda.
beat Toronto 3-1.
It's like, okay.
So they
Where
probably
you-
beat 2 of the 3 worst teams
bottom
in the league.
4 teams. Yeah.
So it's like, okay, people are hyping up the Rokkr, having them 4th in their power rankings,
It's like,
3rd in their power
it's
rankings.
like-
Fourth and
that's
third
some-
is way too high.
That's a bold.
So that's where I feel like we did learn something.
That is true.
Where
That
it's
is
like,
true.
okay, we
Rokkr
can't-
isn't as good as we thought they were.
There's no way Rocker's like an elite team, right?
At least you can't say like
You can't definitively say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. That's good information to intake going into next week's episode of the podcast, or where we'll be previewing Atlanta. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of conversation about that next week with the preview for ATL. So I guess now individually we can talk about some of the surprising player performances, maybe the MVP of the event we can kick ourselves off with here. So, excuse me, who is in your opinion the MVP of the event, and also who was the biggest surprise player, the player that you were most surprised with, possibly or negatively, with the event? Rex?
I think the most surprising player was when Black Ops 2 Scump came out to play.
Oh, yeah.
Scump
I didn't
came
expect
out.
him to hit the stage, but
It was crazy.
he in fact did in that series. So
He
that was
quite
probably
literally
the
felt like old
MVP of
Scump.
the event was
Mhm.
Black Ops 2 Scump, and probably the most surprising player that I saw there.
I was just gonna say Scump could be the answer to both those questions. We haven't seen that from him, and it was cool.
In a
that,
few years.
It was cool. Like he was
the top of the leaderboard,
making-
dominant Scump.
He was making plays. He was getting hyped. Like, brought chills back. Like, this is great. I mean,
Yeah.
this is great. So yeah, I mean, it's hard to deny that Scump was probably the MVP.
It's interesting for Huntsmen.
He looked good.
This is a little off. I mean, they looked incredible.
Yeah. it was really
Until the
good.
Paris match, which
Yeah.
was really
was
weird and
weird.
just threw me for a loop.
Arcitys kind of pooped the bed a little bit on the first map. I think he went. Didn't he go like 9 and something? Like,
He was getting smoked.
he was getting smoked.
But then in the Search and Destroy, everything changed on
Yes.
Petro when he turned on
Yes,
Luca. Who was it?
Luca. Yes, it
He
was
just absolutely turned on Luca and destroyed him.
destroyed that dude.
What was weird for me in this event was I felt like Formal was the only one that didn't stand out for the Huntsman, which is
Yeah.
very rare.
Yeah.
But
performance
Formal
like
was
that.
not bad. He was just
No,
No.
I agree.
Formal was
No,
just
yeah,
but, like,
formal,
solid play.
There was
consistent,
moments
solid,
where Envoy
24/7.
there was moments where Envoy dominated.
Really
there was
good.
moments where Gunless dominated. There was moments where Arcitys dominated, and there was definitely moments where Scump dominated.
Yeah, and like Formal was just there.
Didn't necessarily have his moment, which is crazy for
I know.
that shows
It's
the
weird.
power of the Huntsman. My
Yeah.
goodness.
It's crazy that you can literally have any of those 5 players pop off at any moment. Like that's scary.
Yeah.
When you have that, like that's a top tier team. Like when you know any of those players could potentially change a whole map around. Like that's
that's their
crazy.
power. I mean, we
Yeah.
saw like in Petro, that was when Envoy like went off and just dominated. Then there was the Arklov clutch from Gunless.
yes.
There was the Search and Destroy from Arcitys on Petro as well, and then Scump's play throughout the series was fantastic. And literally Formal was in the background. Like,
yeah, he was just doing his thing.
Formal,
Just doing his thing.
just Formal. But that shows OpTic's potential is crazy. Or my goodness, the Huntsman, bro, it's killing me. It's killing me. The Huntsman's potential is crazy.
True
So
OpTic.
obviously we're gonna be very excited about the Atlanta
FaZe versus
Huntsman match. The FaZe Huntsman match next.
Hopefully it happens. I mean, it should happen.
Right. Which should be pretty crazy. So my MVP, maybe it is Scump. I don't want to be lame and say Scump.
But he looked so good, dude.
He just looked.
Yeah. I mean, maybe we do our Huntsman MVP and our not Huntsman MVP. Do you guys have a non-Huntsman MVP? Because I would say, I'll say
Clayster
Envoy
on. I
was.
thought
I'll
Clayster
say
looked
Envoy
pretty
was the
good.
MVP.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say Envoy was the MVP just because, just to switch it up. But like, it could have. I mean, I agree. Scump was fantastic. So, it's the most surprising player for me. I was actually Clayster was kind of my most surprising player. There was moments where Clay looked amazing.
He looked really good.
And especially in Search and Destroy, which is where you'd expect Clay to look his best. But there was on Sunday multiple Search and Destroys where Clay was just dominating. So
yeah, well, even in respawn,
I
he
was
looked
really
really
excited
good.
to see.
It was just he really showed up for his team.
Clay was the only guy on Empire who didn't like cost any map.
Yeah.
Prim had a fantastic event up until the finals, where on Petro, the Dom, he went like 14 and 31 or something.
Yeah.
Yikes. But yeah, Clay played a really solid event.
It's cool to see that you have the oldest player in the league
Love Clay, dude.
playing at an elite level.
Playing elite level like that, like that's cool because like
It gives all of us middle league,
early
20s people hope.
It gives you guys hope that you don't need to be a cracked 18-year-old to be a pro. Like you could be a calm 28-year-old.
Yeah.
An old guy, as you know. But it was yeah. I'm like old for Call of Duty, right?
Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah, oh for sure.
He looked really good. So that was really cool to see.
Yeah.
Clayster still
Kismet
got it.
also was really surprising. I mean, I wouldn't say surprising, but Kismet
Looking good.
played really good.
Looked good again.
Overall. He had one map, I think, where he didn't play well, but besides that, like, it happens. I mean, overall, of the event, Kismet had a really good event as well.
Kismet's probably the real deal.
We don't have the full stats in front of us yet, so those will probably come out. We'll talk about them probably in the next podcast. But, yeah, I think Kismet was a guy that was pretty surprising as well. Moving forward, is there any player that you're really interested to see? Like, what players come to mind where guys you really want to see more from or excited to see how they can progress?
Illey and Shotzzy.
Are the guys Illey and Shotzzy for you?
Illey and Shotzzy. I still want to see what they can do. I know they have more.
Well, and like you see moments of greatness.
You see moments of
definitely
greatness.
Pop off, right? But like it's just not there, like where it's coming out the whole game. It's like these certain gunfights that are like, oh crap, they are really good, but then it's just it's just not coming out consistently. But yeah,
there were a few like three pieces where like Illey or Shotzzy had, and you're like,
wow,
Yeah.
And not every player can do stuff like that. So there is that upside potential there with those guys for sure, and I completely agree. Is there other guys you're looking at, Sam?
Definitely Illey and Shotzzy. I guess my main thing is just seeing more from guys like Temp and Zuma. Like those guys are great, and like they're I just think it's undoubtedly that's going to come out. It's just a question of when it's going to come out. Like you just hope it's sooner rather than later.
Man, you love Temp, dude.
I just like, it's hard to deny that he wasn't amazing the past 2 years.
He was
amazing, and why is it not translating.
Temp's curse, bro.
Yeah, maybe he's just maybe he's cursed. I don't know.
There is a moment there where I was like, yo, New York could win this. Like
Mhm.
he literally looked so good for a bit, and then
Yeah,
you hate to see it.
and maybe I am putting too much on Temp. Like
I feel
maybe
like Temp
he
is good. I don't think he was like amazing, but he's definitely
Statistically, he was amazing the past 2 years, but
good. Yeah, maybe.
his impact to win
Mhm.
is debated.
Yeah.
Like, does he impact a team even though he puts up the stats? Like, how much of an impact does he have on the map when it takes
definitely.
to change a map and win matches?
Yeah, which maybe we're seeing now. Like maybe he doesn't have that impact that we thought he did, or
It's
that,
just
that,
his
that I
game.
thought he did. Yeah,
So yeah, I think for me it would be. I still want to see more from Weskins. I think the Weskins power. He could be maybe my most surprising player.
Weskins? Oh, but Weskins looked really good.
That's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Weskins. It's not like an underrated thing. It's like
Mhm.
I think he's actually really good.
Yeah,
And I want to see him be great.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I really hope Weskins keeps this up because he's looked fantastic.
He was putting up like 2 KDs and
He looked
respawns.
great in Minnesota. He looked great in this event for most of the event. And I'm really excited to see what Weskins can do. If he is as good of an AR as he looks like he's going to be, the London over time could be really dangerous.
Yeah.
And so I think Weskins kind of a guy I'm really looking at. I would say same thing with Paris, like Luca. I'm excited to see what they can do with like the whole AR situation, Shocks. Like Paris is an interesting team for sure. So that's where I'm looking at. I guess overall we can probably wrap it up there. We've kind of been going on, but again, everybody, we appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, we really, really do. Leave your comments down below if you're watching on YouTube, and of course, leave those ratings and reviews if you guys are on Apple Podcasts. We really do appreciate that. It does help the podcast grow and encourage us to keep going on and putting out content, which is what we love to do. So, as always, guys, we really do appreciate it. Subscribe if you guys are on YouTube, and have a fantastic week. And we'll see you next week. As always, I'm Josh, SalvationsElite. This is Sam, BashBO3, and ShadyNero. And we'll see you next time. See ya.
Bye.